So I thought I'd shoot this video to give you guys an idea of the Monster Gallery coloring book. You can see it's got some really cool artwork on it. I don't really know if this was a kid's coloring book. I guess it was, but we obviously a fan of the opera here. And this came out by the Troubadour Press in San Francisco. Monster Gallery, illustrated by Mark Savy, text by Leah Waskey. And it came out actually 1973 by Troubadour Press, all rights reserved, San Francisco. As you go through the pages, a nice little history on each character that it's portraying. The reason I wanted to bring this out is this artwork here, uncolorized, is what Tomland used for the famous Monsters of Legend fly figure, the non-glow version. The glow version, they did a modified version. They kind of flipped it to the other side. They reversed the image and painted it. We have Frankenstein, and each one of them has like the monster's name, a little quote, and then a history of it, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure about this Frankenstein. He's a little thin for me as far as monsters go, but they did put him in this, you know, he looks like this broken down laboratory. Maybe he destroyed it being alive. Of course, the mummy. Can you go wrong with the mummy? And he's definitely creeping around there with that smoky ground. The creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, these monsters are not officially licensed Universal versions. These are artists' renditions. They think they should look like, and I think they've done a good job. Hunchback. You take a look, and it's clearly taken from, or clearly you can see it was portrayed from one of the movies that was done a long time ago. Godzilla. This is one of my favorite. You know, the one thing about monster books is I don't see a lot of them putting Godzilla. It's Frankenstein, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Family Opera, but this one actually has Dracula, which has Godzilla, I think is great. And he's destroying the city here. He just ripped this train apart, and he's on his way to creating some havoc. They've got lights shining up on him, spotlights, and there's tanks ready to shoot him. The Cyclops. Could anybody not know the story of the Cyclops? And if you take a look again, this is the artwork for the famous Monsters of Legend, Cyclops. I remember being a kid in Italy, and I can't remember what the show was, but they did this story of the Cyclops, and I believe it was Ulysses came in and blinded him to escape. So they could escape as the sheep, the werewolf, and here he is, crept over. He's a pretty good werewolf. He's got some pretty good claws, and he's very ready to pounce. He's got a sinister look on his face and creepy trees, and there's a castle over here, which might be where he lives. The abominable snowman, and here he is right here. This is the artwork for the famous Monsters of Legends, abominable snowman. For the non-glow version, the glow version, they modified it a little bit. They took what they wanted and they painted it. And if you ever watch Ray Castiel's, I always point this out, Ray Castiel's Basement of Horror edition of the famous Monsters of Legend by Tomland. He talks about the little monastery or castle in the background here. One thing I forgot to point out on the other ones, this text you see here, when they did the famous Monsters of Legends figures, the snowman, the abominable snowman, Cyclops, the fly, and the Morlock, they took this text right off the page and put it right to the back of the card. Now, they may have changed a word or two, I can't remember, but for the most part, it's 99.9% the same. Of course, we've got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. What monster guide would be complete without Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Famous Mr. Hyde, he's got his top hat and cane, walking through the streets of London. Looks like we got Big Ben in the background. Good. Next one, Phantom of the Opera. And we pointed this out, that this is actually the front cover. They colorized it, but you see he's got his musical. He's got his violin and his organ and so on. He looks like he's ready to bang out a few tunes. The Morlock from H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. I love the 70s version of this movie. I just absolutely love it. It's a fantastic movie. They did a great job with it. I thought the costumes were good. I thought the characters were good. They filmed it really well. And there's the Morlock. And again, this is the artwork to the non-glow version. Tomland, Famous Monsters of Legend, Morlock. The glow version, they kind of took this and they painted it, made it look a little bit different. And this is the text. It actually shows on the back of the card. Of course, the vampire. Notice they don't label him Dracula. They label him a vampire because Dracula was a specific vampire, probably the most famous of all vampires. And here he is right here. He's kind of got a bit of a Bela Lugosi look to him. All these very tall, thin legs. Like, kind of like the body's here, the legs are really long. And I guess that's supposed to look like he's coming forward. But, I don't know, they also look like they might be vegetarians because they're very thin and not overweight. Of course, King Kong, and I love this. This is from, it was Beauty Killed the Beast. RKO Pictures, 1933. And there's King Kong again. He's a little skinny for me, but he is being attacked by the biplanes and fighting them off. And 1976, I was living in Torino, Italy. We were in a first house, and my mother called us over like real early in the morning. It was very strange. The television in Italy in the 70s, it was only ran from, I think it was 7 a.m. till about 10 a.m. Then it shut off. Then it turned back on at 5 p.m. and ran, I think, till like 11 o'clock at night or something. Very limited television. And my mother's, come over. And it was the first time I ever saw King Kong, the stop motion Ray Harryhausen style picture, if you will, of King Kong. Fell in love with it. The Bride of Frankenstein. Do we even have to say anything about her? They made her look, looks like they gave her some, little bit of a tune-up there, if you will, a little makeover. You can see the electrics going off in the background. Looks like she's getting, she's becoming alive. And I guess these straps aren't very tight because it almost looks like she could slide out of them. They don't look like they're leather. They look like they're metal or so. And you've got all kinds of chemistry items going on. And that's the end of it. And this is just, to the back, a guide of what their stuff is. But that's a quick tour of the, and this was also the same picture you saw in the front of the book, the Monster Gallery coloring book. And thanks to Jason Schirmeyer for selling this to me. It really is a great piece. I love this in my collection. This one's unused, which is really cool. Nobody even put a mark in it. All right. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel over here, My Amigo Like. We'd appreciate your comments and love to hear more from you.